Yeah, we have some new faces up here in several positions. First off, we have a new planning director, and he's going to introduce himself, and we'll go from there after that. How about that?
Absolutely. My name's Chris Paxton. I'm the Director of Planning and Development for the City of Conway. Been here for about 2 weeks, so I'm a professional. But truly, I've been in this field for a little over a decade. I've worked for the City of Rogers before I came here for about 3.5 years. Before that, I was at the City of Springdale for about 4.5 years. I'm looking forward to working with everyone, and I will hand it back over to you.
Okay. All right, we'll do our roll call that we normally do, which is just a verbal. My name is Steve Hurd. I'm chairman.
Emily Walter, vice chair.
Marianne Black, commissioner.
Yeah, you're just Marianne Black.
I'm just Marianne
No,
Black.
you're not just Marianne Black, but that's fine.
Jenny Davis.
Shane Lind.
And we have two new commissioners, Jenny and Marianne. This is their first time starting out for 2023. And there comes Liz. And I'll talk slow so we can get her name on the thing. You're fine. It's okay. We just did roll call. You want?
Here, present.
That's Liz Hamilton here. All right, just real quick on how we handle the business. If you're an applicant and it's your turn to come up, when you get to the podium, we need your name and your residential address where you live in Conway. It's all the committee. It's just what Conway does. We need that for the record. So name and address, and then present your application. We have hopefully what you've seen, which pieces will be up here. We can see stuff here. Still looking behind us on the screen, and so we've got a pretty good packet of information. But we need to hear from you guys, and then I will call for any more people to speak in favor of the proposed project, and then anybody to speak against it, just as a Robert's Rules of Order, if you will. And then once that's done, we'll bring it back into us up here and have the actual not close, but the hearing, but where we'll deliberate and talk talk to the applicant and deal with it. So with that said, the first thing we have is actually old business from, I'm not sure what.
August and
from
September.
August. Wow. That's a long time
And
ago.
September.
We had tabled the 1516, 1518 Caldwell Street window replacement request. And I want to just update what's happened since that meeting because it involved me somewhat. Ms. Rogers left here we tabled it. We're going to figure out how to do the windows that are on the front of the house. The guidelines say they can't be replaced when the A.C.P. Robinson Historic District, the original wood windows. But her investigation and testing showed that they're totally in lead covered. Lead coated paint is just throughout the thing. One thing that I do on private life is restore historic windows. And after seeing the windows, I suggested we could talk about that. It wasn't just to see what could happen. And as her being the owner, but it's a duplex, with it being where people are living. That's not it's not your private house. It goes there's a kind of a gray area, but the EPA guidelines apply to dealing with it. And first thing is the person dealing with the lead has to be certified. And somebody like me and other people I know around that do old windows typically aren't certified. So it goes to these larger companies. And in the meantime, I'd found a company that would abate the lead in a couple of different ways. She talked to them, got some numbers, and that's what we see in our packet now. And so with that said, Ms. Rogers, if you want to get up, I'm just really, it was an update from last time, and I'm not her advocate necessarily. It's just that's where we got, how we got there. If you want to pull the microphone down to you, if you can, listen, way down. So-
Yes. After the last meeting that I was here, hello, everybody, I'm back. I am a member of the Quapaw Quarter Historical Society, organization, and Patricia Blick is the president of that organization, and she gave me, I went to her, contacted her, and got a list of people that redo windows in the Quapaw Quarter in Little Rock. And I believe I spoke with every one of those. I think I provided a list. It might be it. Did we get that in line? The list, okay.
Oh.
Anyway, I
can't see
spoke
that.
with everyone on that list. And then Mr. Hurd had given me the name of Jeremy Blaylock, who is with the EPA and does lead abatement. And I spoke with him several times.
But the initials of their company is EPA. They're kind of glomming up, but they're not the actual EPA. Their company name is
Okay.
like Environmental Protection Associates or something like that.
Okay,
So,
well, he is
just to be clear.
EPA certified.
Oh, no, he's certified.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, if you can see on the screen, I spoke with all except for one, Stacy Smith. I spoke to all of those and questioned them about redoing the windows. One of them, Mr. Marat, he actually builds windows, and sometimes I left a message saying what I was interested in knowing and to call me back if they were interested in doing this. None of them told me that they were certified to do lead abatement. So, and one of them told me he would do it depending on I think it's Troy, except for $750 per window if the ropes and the pulleys were in good shape and he could reuse them. If not, it would be more. But he does not do lead abatement. He actually did the Empress downtown, if any of y'all have been to the Empress, great place. Anyway, so I called Jeremy Blaylock and talked to him, and he said he would call me back and give me a quote on what it would cost to strip the windows of the lead. I believe that's right over here. It would cost me $7,700 if they just scrape them. And it would be, I can't really see that, but I think it's $15,700 to remove them to strip them. Okay, so that adds if I just had them scraped, it would add $855 to each window. And I didn't even divide the other one because it was out of sight. And then that's in addition to putting storm windows over it because they're old windows and they only have they're single glazed. And the price of redoing the windows and having them removed. Nobody wanted to do a couple of windows at a time, so that was a problem for me. So I then went to Anderson Windows, and I had them come and measure. They have a window that is in the picture up here. It's wood clad with Veritex or something like that. I can't remember, but it's white on the outside, white on the inside. And actually, he showed me a folder with grids because when I first spoke when I was emailing back and forth with the Planning Commission in the beginning, the problem with the windows seemed to be with the windows I had chosen from Pella seemed to be that the grids, is that what it's called, a grid? I don't.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. That the grids were between two pieces of glass. Well, this window is made to replace old windows. In fact, and they are EPA certified to remove lead windows. And I really like the way they do it. They put they remove it from the outside, so nothing goes inside. And it's covered with plastic on the inside so that none of the lead gets inside the residence. Anyway, he showed me a little thing that he had with the different kinds of grids you could get, and one of them matched my windows perfectly. Was exactly like it. So I guess all I have to say is I've been here several times and I've done everything y'all asked me to do. And I want to put new windows in because that is the most economical. I can't afford to pay $2,000 and then have old windows. So I guess I'm done. Would y'all like to ask any questions or
Well,
anything?
let's put it back to, if there's anybody else here to speak in favor of this proposal, we can hear them now if there's someone, with nobody standing up. If there's anybody here to speak against it. And with that said, everybody's staying in their seats. So now we can bring it back in questions and discuss it. So anybody have any comments? I mean, two of y'all weren't here before, but that's, I think you're up to speed
Do
on
you
what.
want me to stay here or?
No, well, yeah, stay there. I mean, if we have questions, it's just
Okay.
for us to talk about and interact with you. So yeah, just stay there if you don't mind. But it's having it as a rental. I'm just talking, but as a rental with, there were children on one side of it?
I'm
Or
sorry?
were there children in one side of one of your?
No,
Okay,
there are
I
no
thought-
children.
Okay. But again, that can be at any point. But it's just with lead, with windows that if you want them operable, it's just, it's the problems we've dealt with for a long time. And it was, like I said, when I found out there was lead in all the guidelines and had to be certified, there was nothing for me to even try to help with the windows, so, and that's all.
I will say that when Steve and I first met together and we looked at the windows, I was agreeable to him redoing them until I found out that they had a lot of lead paint on them, layers.
Well, I didn't want to talk anymore either, so I couldn't, so.
So these these Anderson windows are wood, and the
Well,
grid-
on the back, I had Pella, but y'all didn't like the Pella windows
No.
because,
I'm talking about these that you got quoted. You're saying those
Yes.
are wood windows,
yes. Can y'all
And-
see? You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see
we
that
can see right
okay.
there.
Okay.
and so the grid is not in between the glass. It's actually, it would look like an original window, right?
It looks exactly like it. The man who came, William, he couldn't believe it looked so much like it, like the original
Yeah.
window.
So why is the recommendation that it can't be?
That's from the first time she came through.
Oh,
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's just ditto from the first time. Then we tabled it to talk more. Basically, this is continuation of that first conversation with that information.
But to be clear, just because it wasn't in the recommendations, you will be replacing with the new updated wood window as pictured.
It's
just
not
didn't
wood.
reflect
Right.
that.
If
It's not wood. It's wood clad.
we allow the for it to happen, yeah, she'll replace those 9, the front.
I wanted
that
to
we-
be clear about that too,
Yeah,
Emily.
the
that's
back we
fine.
we approved, that was fine, but the front.
how much are these per window?
They run about the same price as the Pella windows, but there's a charge for the abatement.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten the exact amount, but he told me it would run about the same that the Pella windows were going to run. So
Which were how much?
1,100 and something.
So you'd save about $500 going this route, right?
Yeah. Sorry. I
Well, the
can't-
quote here is to abate. So we're looking at 2 different quotes, right? One's Anderson, and that includes your abatement, and the other one is the
No.
abatement.
No. These
No.
are 2 different methods of getting the lead out.
Okay.
One is just a scraping what's loose
Okay.
and leaving other lead paint.
And the Anderson would be a complete replacement.
Yeah,
Right, remove the old windows and
Yeah.
replace with the wood clad windows.
in that
right.
in that
So
cost similar to, but a little bit more
I
than
have
the
a
other one.
question maybe for Steve
Go-
and Chris. What would this do to the contributing status of this dwelling within the historic district? Because, when we
No, I
start-
know.
When we start to erode the contributing versus non-contributing
Yeah, I know.
status.
Honestly, I need a something from the state because we've got a lot of contributing structures that I know the windows are not original. I mean they happened before we came along. But so I'm not going to say that it'll be fine. But
But we had a survey done, right? Do we know if this
Yeah.
one, well, does it say it on here?
it
does.
it
It is.
it should have
Yeah,
been.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's a
Contributing currently.
yeah, yeah. I
And
can't
I guess my
answer
question
that.
is, would it become non-contributing?
Yeah, I don't.
Because
so,
I think
but-
the house directly across the street from it, looking south, is not contributing any longer, but may have been at one point.
Yeah.
I kind of know. this
Honestly, I
looking
can't.
a
I
little
can't
bit,
answer
but-
that. Would be I think a CLG office opinion.
The house across the street is a commercial building, and it is real estate, I believe.
Yes, ma'am, you're
Yeah,
right.
there's been a lot of things happen to that.
Yeah.
That
A lot.
It's
not
not
just.
contributing any
I don't
longer.
think so. It was. I think it was
Yeah.
cited and everything else. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I am the last one to say replace windows even anywhere because I know they can be fixed. I do that. I can do that. But I mean, I don't have a business doing that. I've done it for different times. But I don't know. We get these rock and a hard place applications every once in a while, and this is one of them. So I'm just
Can I,
really at y'all's pleasure.
can I go back to the math part of it? The $750 you quoted, what was that for? Versus the extra $855.
That was Troy who told me he would do them for $750.
So he's replacing them, and then you have to abate them. So it'd be like over $1,500 to repair them and abate them.
Yes, it would be $750 plus he doesn't do the abatement and he's not certified EPA.
So you said it'd be an extra $855 to do per window.
Yeah.
Yes, to remove the lead.
And I'm assuming the original glass is still in these windows, the
Some of
original-
them it's not.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Make a motion. for now. I move that we accept her proposal to replace. I move that we accept her proposal to replace the windows with the, I believe, Anderson windows that she pointed that are wood clad.
Okay, we have a motion for approval as presented. This go around, and we need a second if we. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that?
Well,
Yes or
I have
no?
a discussion
That's fine.
in the sense that if you go by what the letter of the law says, we can't, I mean, you're not supposed to do this.
Right.
And so what's going to happen in the future when someone comes in and says, oh, well, there's lead and this, and you did it for that other one?
Technically, every decision we make is not supposed to be a precedent-setting decision. Technically,
My question
not to
is,
say
I
you're not
guess,
hitting the head with it later.
so there's
you know.
9 total windows, right? And this is for the front and the sides. Would it make any difference if we considered just the front facade compared to does that make sense what I'm saying? Like to
Yeah.
replace the
Well, the whole-
existing, or would it even matter?
Yeah, I don't know that it would matter. In that our whole way we've looked at things from the beginning is if you can see it from the street, is like if you're going
Right.
to modify the house, and you can see the sides from the street.
Yeah,
So it fell into that.
I was just
that
thinking
area.
about my biggest concern and worry is contributing status.
I know.
And so what would the timeline look like if we were to ask the state to consider if it would affect contributing status?
It would probably just be a phone call
Mhm.
and find out because this stuff's kind of cut and dried. I mean, it's not. We don't have to go through some review. It's just we've got original windows and with the issues that are related to them, and because I've not had that come up to ask them about before. I've never So I mean, it's a valid point about the guidelines, and I'm not looking at those as wishy-washy because we that's our guidelines, but we have I'm not picking a side. I'm just we have strayed a little bit from that sometimes when we had to. I'm going to leave it to y'all if that's the time to do that now.
Could we
It's-
make an addendum to the motion that states, well, I guess I'm proposing an addendum to the motion that states approval of the Anderson windows pending approval from the state that it will not affect the contributing factor? And if it does affect the contributing factor, I don't think we have any other choice but to go the alternate route, which is to
Who
repair.
does approval from the state come from?
Well,
Historic preservation.
The
one thing that we've got, in the ACP Robinson district is it was established with a majority of the structures contributing as contributing structures, meaning they're pretty much intact from when they were built. Not exactly, but they're very, very close. And that there are contributing, non-contributing, and that's the thing. And if we lose a contributing structure to the non-contributing side, it can come back at some point if they resurvey us and we don't have enough 51% or more, we can lose the historic district classification. It's a real thing, and I'm just that's how they put it to us. The CLG, the Certified Local Government.
So who is
rules.
it that gives?
It's the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program, and we have a Certified Local Government officer or director, whatever they're called. That
Okay,
kind of
and
is-
they don't address things on an individual basis?
Well, yeah, I mean that's what this would be. If what she's wanting to do is something that we do, contact them. Is this something that we need to worry about or not, and go from there.
Well,
That's
how are
all.
they going to know everything? I mean, who would present that to them so that they would know that there's lead paint and the
I mean,
windows
I can
are-
do that. In fact, the CLG coordinator, we're in contact about other things all the time. I mean, that's easy to pass along the information.
We've already had
Okay.
a survey done a couple of years ago, so they have the information about your property. It's just a matter of updating.
No, they don't have information about the windows, surely.
No, but we have it here, and if it's something they want to come out and look at, that's fine
Okay,
too.
I've been dealing with this
I know.
since August, and
I
I
know.
think I have jumped through every hoop y'all have given me.
I know.
I've contacted every person. I would appreciate it if you would have a vote tonight.
I mean, if we vote tonight, I'm going to vote no.
Okay,
Because it's this is the Robinson Historic District. I mean, it's just crucial to the fabric
I mean,
of the
well,
historic
no,
district.
look where it
honestly,
is.
to-
It's
to what I'm
across from
hearing
two
is-
businesses.
What I'm hearing is the problem is the cost, and that's not really
Yes, it
our
is.
issue. It's not our issue. Unfortunately, it's not. I mean, it's
Okay,
preservation.
it's
of
across from two businesses. It's next door to, if you can believe it, that is a tri-apartment right there. And this is a tri-apartment on this side. Is there any way to get out of the historic district?
No, but I think the addendum that we're talking about is not going to take another 30 days. I mean, we can have you, I personally, this is my own personal opinion, I don't have any factor in this, but I'm going to guess that it's not going to affect the contributing status, and then you can get your new window. We just need clarification.
Okay, I'm sorry, say that again.
I said, personally, and I have no backing for this, but if you're replacing a window with a window that looks just like it and it's a wood window, I'd be willing to bet money that it's not going to affect the contributing status, and within 2 days we can have the approval of a new window. We just need to double check that. That's our duty as commissioners to double check it.
Okay,
But instead of tabling it or
Yeah.
requiring a vote
Do
where you're
we-
going to get a no, we're asking for a couple more days. We're not asking you to come back for another meeting. But I really strongly feel like it's not going to affect the contributing factor. We just need to hear that from someone higher than us.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if this condition of approval or this addendum does go through, is this something that you're wanting staff to check, or is this something that you wanted the applicant to check? I needed to verify
I think
that.
I think staff should check
Staff
that.
should check it.
Yeah.
And I would have to,
And I can check too, but that's fine.
just wanted
And
to
we're going to take
clarify.
care of the work. You've done everything we've asked, and we appreciate it so much. So we just need to make one more phone call, and then we're
Okay, if I think we've got that sort of worked out. Now, the big question is, are you okay with that addendum to
I
your
am.
motion? Okay.
I am,
And
just
who-
so long as she can get an answer quickly.
Yeah.
because We have windows with lead paint.
I would
and that's
say,
dangerous.
I would hope a phone call, if it's made tomorrow, you will know, period.
Okay. I just want
Okay.
to make sure that they have a full
Don't worry about
explanation
that.
of what is going on.
Don't worry about that. That'll be taken care of. It will. I guarantee you that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we had a motion that you're okay with the addendum. Second, okay with it. Okay. So we have a motion for approval, subject to a very quick phone call to the state just to double check contributing status, and that's just a box to tick. I mean, we're just going to find that out. So
Okay, and this is to the Arkansas
Historic Preservation Program, but
Program?
the CLG office, which is Certified Local Government, which is what our entity that we are that governs this,
Okay.
and they give us the rules
Well-
that we then interpret.
All right, once
Okay.
again, suppose they say no, is there any way to get out of the historic district?
Not that I know of. Not. I mean, let's again. I kind of agree with Emily that it's not going to be a problem, but
Okay.
it's better to cross a T than leave it off. So
We're
Okay.
accountable to
Okay.
them. We're accountable to them for enforcing the regulations that are set up for a certified local government in a historic district. And so running it past them is totally appropriate. So it shouldn't take long.
Okay,
In the future, is there a way that we can have the regulations here so that we can look that up and give people an answer?
I don't think the contributing factor is a
yeah, that's
Something-
not
Don't we know what the contributing factors are? Is it, if it's a regulation, isn't there a list somewhere? I mean, I just feel like as people who are coming, like, this should be like laid out. So
No.
it's all transparent. We should all know.
We had nothing to do with the contributing
we
stuff.
don't
I know,
have
but
it.
it's. I mean,
But
we.
Well, how do, I mean, if somebody knocks out a window and it's replaced, do we then lose a contributing house? That doesn't make any sense. Is there a way for us to know this in the meeting? Like for us to have a list of their regulations so that we don't have to make a phone call so that we can know?
do they have regulations?
They have their guidelines that they go by. Yeah, they
and
do,
printed?
and they
Can
have
you
have
get-
workshops and they have things all the time that we can
Can you
learn
get
that
those
from.
online?
I don't know. See, I don't know. I'm not sure that part. I don't think so. But
Okay.
they have workshops geared for the commissioners to learn what we're doing instead of just flailing around. So
Well, would is the Quapaw Quarter under their regulation?
if they're a CLG historic district, yes, but I'm not sure. I don't know what their
Yes,
status.
it
I think
is.
they are. but-
Okay, because I know these
let's-
windows have been
let's-
put in the Quapaw Quarter.
Sure. Well, that's again. I just don't think it's going to be a problem. Let's
Okay.
let's vote on the motion with the addendum, and
I'm just
then
trying
we'll
to get
do-
information.
I know,
about-
and that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so our motion is to approve with the added note of contacting the CLG office for contributing status modifications, whatever that does.
Mr. Chair, that would be a condition of approval. That would need to be verbalized as a condition of approval.
The
Do we then need to vote on the addendum?
If the addendum is coming as a part of the approval, then it needs to be a condition of approval, a condition of the approval.
word that different.
You would just say it's a condition with the condition of
Oh,
approval.
okay, sorry.
So-
Think over
I
the
was,
language.
I was, yeah, I was going. That just went. So we have a motion to approve, and then as a condition of approval would be contributing status
Verifying the contributing
verifying.
status.
Okay, are we good with that?
Yes,
How I-
if the
good-
contributing status is not affected,
Right.
she can.
Good with how I muddied that up. Okay. All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. So 5-4-1 against.
Do math. It was
Yeah, I know.
hard.
I was trying it. Thank you, Ms. Rogers. We'll
Okay,
get
we-
ta-
for all
we'll get
your-
You
taken
will
care of.
call me?
Okay. What? Yeah. If depends on who makes the call, we'll get back with you as quick as we can.
Okay.
I promise you that. Okay. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one on the agenda is the 565 Front Street adaptive reuse. Somebody here to talk about it? We're not going to bite.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Brandon Rule, 5140 Barn Owl Cove. Appreciate y'all's time this evening. I've spent 5 years behind the other side of this podium, so I understand your investments to our community. So what you have in front of you, I'm sure you're all familiar with the old Conway block plant. My client, the new owner, which please allow the record to show that current owner listed in your staff report says Downtown Properties Group. That's the old owner. The new one is Eagle Rock Capital, 1090 Spencer.
Okay.
So we're proposing to convert this to the coolest restaurant in Conway, period. We're trying to preserve what we can that's there to try to create some economy. We've got about 20,000 square feet of area to deal with, so it's quite a budget. So we're trying to conserve and preserve a lot of the built conditions, which are primarily concrete block and poured in place concrete. And then in order to accommodate our new program, which will incorporate indoor-outdoor dining scenarios and pickleball, we have to tear the roofs off and raise that roof to have the adequate height that we need. So we're proposing to put a new roof on there, and the existing trusses on that building will not support any additional load, so we can't add insulation or lighting or HVAC or any of those things necessary to create an habitable space for a restaurant. In reviewing the staff report, there's a number of items there that we are in agreement with. We don't necessarily have any issues per se. I would argue the placement of some of the added windows are a little subjective and will cost a fortune to add to this facility, but would be interested in any of your input that you have.
We'll get you present, and I'll ask anybody else speak. Then when we get into the meat of it, we'll talk about that. That's okay.
Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Well, is anybody else here to speak in favor of the project? Okay, just name and address and.
My name is Zach Saxon, 624 Donaghy Avenue, Conway, Arkansas. Yeah, so we decided to buy this as a group because we feel like there's not enough in Conway that provides people to do. I run a lot, so I love the trails here. But when it comes to like nighttime recreation, I don't really drink, so I don't really go to bars or anything like that. And so me and my wife and friends are constantly kind of racking our brains with what we can do locally instead of spending our money in Little Rock or driving elsewhere. I'd love to be able to spend it where I live. I'd love to invest even more money, here because, this is a great town and I think it deserves new life and new recreation. Furthermore, there's a ton of college students who come here but aren't necessarily hooked. I think this will be a fantastic way to kind of give people, they can find a job, but they can't always find, that lifestyle that they're looking for, maybe used to back home. So yeah, we do want to preserve as much as we possibly can as far as the historic aspect. But there's obviously some things we want to change, and hopefully we can kind of mend or meld those two well. And our contractor, his uncle was actually the owner of this previous to the previous owner. He owned it and ran it for many decades, and so we have a tie with that to make sure that his input is put back into reconstructing this. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Anybody else here speak in favor of the project? Anybody speak opposition to the project, or with just a general pointed question? Okay, with that said, we'll bring it back to us, and Brandon, or whoever you want to discuss it. Have you seen the recommendations? You mentioned that.
Yes. And like I said earlier, not necessarily any opposition, but you know, like for example, added windows on the western facade, which face the railroad tracks and the old Boys and Girls Club. There's not a lot to look at through those proposed windows. You know, arguably, yes, it would make the facade a little more articulated, but from the standpoint of view, doesn't offer a lot, and that's also a kitchen space currently. So while it would offer nice daylight in the kitchen, you know, it's just a matter of expense. And I know we're not here to talk about the expense of it, but it's more than just purchasing a window. You know, with the treatment of those solid 12-inch concrete walls, cutting those, shoring those up, creating a temporary structure to hold them, building back a bond beam, employing the new window, treating the stucco around the new opening. It's quite a bit of an expense. So just wanted to make that note. But in general, I've went ahead and plugged in some windows where they were asked for, and I have some illustrations here for you guys.
Thank you.
In addition to what you have in your packet there.
Are these,
you.
are these,
Appreciate that a lot.
is it
Trying to
this that we
envision in
had
my head.
separate?
It says, oh, it's like one
Okay.
whole-
So we've got some 3D views,
Oh, thank you.
kind of help understand the dimension of the odds versus those 2D.
Thanks.
Like the back of my hand. So I've went ahead and added the windows where they were asked for. Let's see, and if you guys want, we can just go through these recommendations.
Yeah,
would
and we
be
have a
excellent.
handful that are boilerplate or site, you know, development review for later, but I mean, the meat of it are the windows and things like that, if you want.
That's right, that's right.
I mean, we've got really one, two, we could talk through, landscaping will be reviewed, fencing, talk about that. Yeah, down, all, you know, towards the end, all those are pertinent to what we're needing to talk about, I guess. So if you have any, if you're good with one, we'll check that off and instead of
Okay.
just going through.
Yeah, so I'll just run through them real quick. So property being replatted, not an issue. We're used to that exercise. We're not necessarily increasing the footprint very much. We're actually demolishing some to create the on-site parking. And then we have a little stair tower that you see there that we're adding. So it's a little bit of a reduction in footprint, if you
Mhm.
will. The sidewalks along Front and College will remain in place. We will repair those as needed as
Sure.
we go along throughout construction. Not proposing to make any changes there. Like it says, the landscape requirements were reviewed during site development. We're actually reducing the amount of hardscape and employing those new green spaces that you see there on the screen. The fencing that is proposed around the outdoor pickleball court, 70% open, not a problem. We're currently proposing that to be a ornamental fence, trying to work through the diameter of the ball and the
Right.
spacing of the pickets.
Right. Okay.
So we can get
We'll make
that
it a
right.
basketball court. We don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right,
that's,
so
that's a
you're
little
good
bit of
with
a
that.
challenge.
Okay.
Material treatment applied to the existing CMU must be a true stucco. I would agree with that, 100%.
Right.
85% of the first story glazing shall be transparent. This is one that we've been going back and forth with. You can see on the facade, which has the pickleball courts in it. Our owner would like for that to be transparent as well. I'm going through some solar studies right now. We're concerned about the glare for the western side opponents as they're playing. Early morning sun could create an issue for those players. So originally where I'd proposed some not opaque glass, but frosted glass, we're going to study it. We'd like it to be transparent as well. But if it comes to an issue of any kind of solar glare that would impede people from playing, maybe we can position the times of play after that time. We're
Mhm.
still kind of working through that. Additional first-story windows are required at the east and west ends of the College Ave facade, which we've already added there at the pickleball court and the offices into the kitchen. Additional first-story windows are required at the east end of the interior north-facing facade. That's the existing wall facing north into that outdoor pickleball court. Second-story windows are required at the west end of the interior north-facing facade for that private dining room. Agree with that. We had just kind of underbaked that space and hadn't employed any articulation there yet and determined where the windows would be featured. I would agree. The north would be more appropriate than facing out to the east, or to the west, excuse me, to that Boys and Girls Club lot. Let's see, first-story windows are required at the south end of the west-facing facade in the office area. You're seeing that in that packet I just showed you there as well. First-story windows are required at the west-facing facade in the catering area. We're looking at that as well. That might actually get changed to a private dining room, so if that's the case, we definitely want those windows there. Let's see. Portions of the building proposed to be clad with wood siding shall be clad with an alternate material. So that wood accent material that you're seeing, we're actually proposing that as the cementitious wood look siding, not your hardy board, but like the Nichi-Ha that you see on the Arnold Innovation Center. It's we want the richness of that wood color, but the durability of something masonry that will last forever. So it's currently a accent material, if you will, but it will comply with the ordinance and be of a material. It could be a colored stucco, but if cost becomes an issue, but currently we're pursuing it being some nice accent material in compliance.
Just for Doug, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For everybody here, the things like you say that we're looking at this or whatever. Number 16, you got to provide revised drawings for, and that those things will be addressed in. If there's still a problem, they'll talk to you about it. So we don't have to make them decide tonight. But that's just everybody understands. Saying you're going to look into it that's what we're requiring you to do. So that's fine. So okay,
Thank you.
all right, go ahead.
Thank you for that clarity. 13, all signage shall comply with the old Conway overlay district guidelines. We're very familiar with this exercise as well. That new packet you see shows signage above the entryway, but we're still studying where it might be most appropriate and what style of signage we will be using on the building. And of course, we will walk through that with the signage ordinance. 14, some level of exterior building accent lighting should be provided. Absolutely agree. We will have this thing lit up like Christmas if I have my way and the budget will allow. So we will definitely be studying that and doing a photometric plan for the site development review.
But not bleeding onto neighborhood properties.
That's right. That's right. We're going to contain it all within the property lines.
Yeah, that's fine.
15, HVAC equipment shall be placed in a manner to minimize its visibility from the street and screened adequately.
Yeah,
we are
that's
showing
standard.
screen walls above all the kitchen equipment. And then there'll probably be, you can see the valley that's created between those two larger roofs. I'm proposing that will be where we put our rooftop handlers and sidewall into those structures, so that those rooftop units are not seen from any angle and don't require any screen walls on the bigger roofs, if we can get it to all fit in there.
Yeah. Okay.
And with that addresses all the comments from the staff report. Happy to answer any questions.
I have any questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I did want to point out, this is probably one of the first times a lot of the commissioners have seen a staff recommendation of consider. We did have two recommendations. The first was the first recommendation was approval of the proposed adaptive reuse design with the suggested conditions noted below, or to table the request pending the revisions. And we did feel that it was the commission's determination on which one of those actions to take.
Sure. Well, I'm after going through the list, the exhaustive list, does anybody have any issues with any of them that, based on his discussion of them or modification made so far, on them. Do we have any problems with it?
The only red flag I have, and it's such a weird red flag, is the fact that you're cutting, like, we're the historic preservation, and it's a Conway block building, but the city, because of their, we're gonna have to cut into that existing building to put windows in that weren't originally there. That makes sense?
Kinda. I mean, it.
So you're talking about, just make sure I'm clear. You're saying, like, since there's no windows there currently, why are we requiring an addition?
Why
of
are we
windows?
altering a building that wasn't?
I can hand, Mr. Chair, I can hand that over to Beth if she would like to explain that a little bit better.
So, while the Conway block plant is a long-standing, we all know it, whether it was operational or after the fact, this represents a significant change in use in the site. It is an adaptive reuse of the structures, but it is going from a manufacturing facility, as it were, to an entertainment, restaurant type use.
Public
and
type use.
A public type use. In addition to that, there are facade articulation requirements, and that's where a lot of these window recommendations came from. So I would say, given the significant change in use, and the building is ground face CMUs, I mean, and they're going to cover it with stucco anyway, so
Yeah.
it's not of
Well-
incredible historic value, as it were, just the material itself.
And it's not in the
That's
ACP Robinson district, so the what we apply to that are
Mm.
different here. I mean, it's a, it's
Yeah,
a-
no,
it's-
I mean, I
so
get all
it's,
that.
it's a, I think it's well within.
I appreciate that explanation.
Yeah.
though, Beth.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you,
makes
Beth.
I think that was
Beth.
an important distinction moving
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
use of
And I would
manufacturing.
just like to
Discussion.
comment, this, I don't know what it is, really, this big mixing tower or whatever it is.
Yeah, the silo.
You're leaving that,
Yes,
right?
ma'am,
To
absolutely.
me, that's a marker
Yep.
of what that building was
That's right.
originally. And maybe in some way, if it can be, I don't know if you want to leave the deer on it or not that's there, but if in some way that could emphasize the history of the building,
Absolutely.
it's kind of a visual.
I
to
think
what
keeping
was
it there will
originally.
emphasize the history of the building. If you do a slide inside and spill out the bottom, that'd be kind of fun.
Well, we had
Yeah.
one proposition to put the elevator inside the silo.
Oh, there you go.
My elevator guy
Yeah.
didn't like that.
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah, it
well,
sounds
no elevator
like-
guy's gonna like that, yeah.
But I would echo and to your point, we're actually, if you look at the logo in the border, we're employing the silo as the iconography of the brand and of the place. So we
Yeah.
Well,
hope
and you can-
that that'll kind of
I was gonna say
Carry
too, over
through.
the years, as that plant modified itself, that's why it looks like it does. It got added onto, things got taken down, things
That's
got
right.
got bunged up on it,
there's different
just
floor
because of the
levels.
use of it
And
forever.
You could
and-
also always do an interpretive marker near there,
Sure.
somewhere in
Yeah.
the building, explaining what
Yeah.
the building
Yeah.
was before.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, and,
so-
and like Zach said, we've taken a history tour with the original owner that ran the plant for all the number of years, and
Mhm.
we've been incorporating some of that heritage into the design.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm of a mind to. This is everybody. I vote if there's a tie, and I just try to shepherd. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not making a motion.
Sure.
But I think with all the tick marks that we've got on the pieces that were the recommendations that they've either done or there's still some tweaking to do, but it's you're based on y'all's approval. Unless you want to table it, which I don't. It doesn't sound like you
No,
do.
absolutely not.
I'm of a mind to, I think we've got enough beef there to vote on it. And I'm not saying to vote on it and make it okay. I just mean, I think it's something we've discussed a lot of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, the recommendation to consider was not, there wasn't anything that was major. There was not
Sure.
one major
Oh, no,
issue. It's
sure.
just there was a lot of
There's a-
little things.
Right.
So we did feel that was,
Yeah.
that's why we were leaning towards the consider with giving that option to approve.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate that. It's nice to have that. But I think before we talked about it, I would have probably wanted to go that way
Mhm.
because there's so much. But I only got a couple items on here that you're still kind of wrestling with yourself, and
Yeah.
you end up wrestling with them at the final. But
Absolutely.
so I'm comfortable with how we went through it and what we've got to work with now, if that's okay with everybody else.
So I would like to make a motion for the approval of the proposed adaptive reuse design
Second.
with the suggested conditions.
Yeah, and obviously the biggest one is that you got to provide revised plans,
second.
and then they go over how it meets. So so we have a motion and a second, all right? Okay, any other discussion?
Jenny?
We good?
Yeah, they got it.
Okay, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there lead in that thing?
Oh, my God.
I sure hope not. We haven't
late,
done
no
our
take back.
I got the
environmental
whole group
study
to
yet.
laugh, okay? That's all I
Yeah.
wanted.
I
That
didn't
was,
laugh, Steve.
well, you were laughing inside, I could tell. Thank you for everything,
Right.
Brandon.
What's
Thank
your proposed timeframe?
As fast as possible. We hope to go to site development
Beautiful.
review just as quick as we can get it in the hopper, and working through all the final details and then go to permit immediately. I mean, we would like to be under construction as quick as we can. And
No
have it
liquor
open
license,
as
right?
quick as we can.
Because it's by the church? Interesting.
So is a restaurant?
Yeah.
It's a restaurant.
It's a
Okay.
restaurant, yeah.
I knew, I just, as soon as I asked, I knew that.
I knew
I'm
that
sorry.
rule from the road roundabout, so that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank all y'all with that. Okay, next one on our agenda is the 365 Watkins. We have a rear addition. We have somebody here to speak on that. You know, like I said, name and address, and we're good to go.
Danny Jones and 365 Watkins.
Okay, so this is your house you're doing?
It is my house.
Okay.
I own it. I do not live in it right now,
Sure.
but I do own it.
Okay.
So it's unfortunate that this commission wasn't working when the addition that's there right now was put on.
There's a lot of those around, but that's good, yeah.
So basically, there's already an addition that was put on, I don't know when,
Sure.
a long time ago. And when they made it, in order to keep, I guess, 8 feet between the floor and the ceiling, and they needed a slope on the roof, they made the floor go down at the same level of the roof, so that it would still have 8 feet from the top to the bottom. So,
That's just
so you
strange.
can run, you can roll cars down the
Okay.
floor of the thing. So anyway, my wife and I are
Kids,
planning to
sounds
move into it, and we just need to redo that.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
it's got a flat roof right now, so we just wanted to match the pitch on the back. It's in the back. It can't be seen from the street. It can't be seen from Sims either. I guess you could see it. The house next door has an empty lot, but
To-
you
well,
really
to-
can't
to-
see it.
To
I'm sorry.
delineate, HB Robinson District, we got 2 districts we deal
Okay,
with.
okay.
In the HB Robinson, if you can see it from the street, we talk. Otherwise, one of the harder things that's a little more strict in the overlay is if it's added onto or built new anywhere on the property, we talk about it.
Okay.
It's a little different than, it doesn't matter if you can't see the street. I mean, just to be.
Wyatt, I had heard that in that earlier.
Yeah, I know, because she's in the
Right.
HB Robinson District. And so,
You can't see anything because of all the pickups from the
Yeah.
fraternity house.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So
Okay.
we back up to the fraternities there.
Gotcha.
so.
okay.
So basically, that's it. It's we want to extend it just a little bit. Well, actually, double it from what's there right now, just because of space. Number 10 and 11 grandkid is in the oven right now, so we just need a little bit more space. We're going to be
Sure.
living there, so that's it. I don't know. Again, like I said, we're trying to match the pitch of the roof. That's why I'm putting up a pitched roof on, also just to get some space there. And
The only thing, did you see the recommendation
I
On-
don't know that
about the
I-
windows? That they need to match the style and
Right.
of the existing ones. And
Yeah.
am I right that the existing ones are just 1/1 with no muttons in them?
Right.
Okay, so that's all we
Yeah,
need.
they are.
Yeah.
They-
I'm just
they
saying the
will
drawing
match, yeah.
has muttons shown, and that's
Oh, okay.
okay. But
yeah.
1/1, I mean that's
Yeah.
very
yeah,
typical.
They'll
and-
match.
Okay,
They'll
okay,
match.
that's good. And that's the one recommendation that's on there. Otherwise,
Great.
we're good. So, but am I right that you're doing like board and batten on the addition,
Yes.
and it's brick on the main house?
The main house is brick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not setting you up for anything. I'm just asking.
yeah, Well, up in the top there, that is on the front side. It's at some point they put a vinyl siding up there. You
course
can
they
see
did,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
And on the back side, I'm guessing, I don't know if it's stucco or something like that.
Might be. From
That's
the time, it
probably-
might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's fine. Well, that's fine. I don't really have a problem. I mean, does anybody have a problem with the board and batten? You know, it's on this brick house. I think it'll. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is anybody here to speak? Anybody else here to speak in favor of the project? It's my things. I forget this sometimes. They remind me. Anybody here to speak in opposition to the project? We lost half the crowd with that last one. Okay. With that said, bring it back to us, and we need to.
I motion to approve with recommendation.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. A motion is second. The recommendation is the windows need to
Right,
match
right.
the old ones.
Yeah.
That's it.
Question, we're not taking out any trees, right?
We are not.
I didn't think
The
so.
tree
Okay.
was taken
Thanks.
out a long time ago.
Sure.
I'm working around a stump that was left there, so.
Sounds like a fire
That's
pit to
what I
me.
thought.
Yeah.
Sounds like a new fire pit.
The stump's in the plan.
Huh?
The stump's
Yeah, I
actually
saw
shown in the
that.
plan.
Yeah, I drew the stump. I just,
Hey, we need to know it all. That's good.
yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for approval. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Thank you, sir. And
Thank you.
I've neglected to tell the others, but when this was approved with that, you're going to have COA soon, emailed to him. I'm
I'll
not
get
putting
with
any
staff
pre-
on that. It should be.
Okay. I mean, it's a couple days and you'll
Couple
get, the permits will have a copy of an email with it, so they'll know, and you'll get one too, it's what normally has happened.
So now I've just moved here to Conway, so what's my next step now?
Building permit,
Okay,
and the permits department will have record of this, that you
Okay,
are
great.
approved. And it's because
so
you went
so
there.
you'll communicate with the
Yeah,
permit.
they will.
That's what you were
If you'd
saying.
gone there today for a permit, they'd have kicked
Said
you out
no.
because you hadn't been approved yet.
Right.
So, I mean, not kicked you out.
And how quickly can I get that permit now?
That I don't know. It's not my department. Yeah, they'll tell you. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Lauren.
All right, thank
All right,
you.
thank you,
Welcome
thank you,
to
sir.
Conway.
All right, picking up some pace here. The next one we have is 714 Hark Rider, adaptive reuse of a structure that's been the same thing for the last, I don't know how many years. Yeah, I've been here 30 years and it was a dump then. But it's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. Joanna Napoltz, 1335 Brookfield. And we are working with Francesco and trying to get ice cream downtown. That's the dream. We're as close as we can to downtown.
Yep.
So they have found this property that was the old service station. I think it was a gas station before.
Yeah, originally, I think. it
Yeah.
went into- yeah.
And we love the historic nature of the gas station. So we're trying to make it look like a repurposed gas station into an
Mhm.
ice cream shop. So a lot of fun.
Yes.
Um,
Gas station ice cream shop, I've always put together.
Times, I was surprised. That's
Yeah, I know.
nice.
That's the dream. So we're not adding any square footage. We're actually taking off the very front canopy that's along Hark Rider because of the Hark Rider expansion. If
Right.
it ever happens, it will get into that kind of front canopy, and just to clean it up a little bit. But we are proposing to maintain the original kind of gas station canopy.
Very good.
And yes, so the majority of the site right now is concrete or paving. So we're trying to bring back grass and landscaping and sidewalk and really get pedestrians kind of coming down Park Rider a little bit further. So there's a lot of landscaping. The parking lot in the back, we're kind of proposing to leave as is. There already is some fencing and landscaping back there, but we would kind of beef it up there on Monroe and then also along Hark Rider. Trying to think of what else. We are proposing a drive-through. Once again, ice cream. And so we're trying to kind of push it towards the back and really play up the emphasis on the very front of the building with the big windows where the garage doors were. We did kind of show or hint at a patio one day just because we think that will help kind of distract from the drive-through if we really kind of activate that corner. But we don't want to commit to anything on the patio yet until we know how Hark Rider is going to kind of play out.
Sure, sure.
So that is purely future. It's a hope, wish, and a dream one day. We do have, we're taking out, it's all concrete to road right now. So we're making an actual drive with some sidewalks and landscaping, and then an exit only, right exit only for the drive-through.
Let me do is there anybody else here to speak in favor of the project? Anybody here speaking opposition to the project? All right, with that, we'll pepper her with questions. Most of us will.
Did you see the staff recommendations?
Did, yes. And majority of them, yes, we will. We're hoping that we've already accounted for. We're already in the process for the replat. The trees, of course, will provide. There is about the articulation on the south elevation, and that elevation is, to me, it's an alley. So it is facing the there's the building next door, but that actually, the building is up to our property line. And so we're a little bit hesitant to do anything on that because in theory, the neighbor next door could build all the way up to that wall, and that would be a party wall then. And so trying to maintain the fire rating and all of that good stuff if that ever does happen. But Sam has agreed to paint all kinds of fun stuff on the building. He's a painter. So to me, that would be a great place for a mural or some sort of pattern or change in color in paints.
I think in lieu of dealing with the fire rated, that's going to be it's not just a window if you put in, you got there's things, other things you got to do. But if a mural could be done, and we've got a couple of those in town, it'd be nice place to have one with a big ice cream
Steve,
cone
would
on
we
it.
need to require that or have any
Require-
language? Not require, but any language about.
Maybe just strike as far as the south elevation.
Yeah, or just I know we strike what is there now, but would that require us to state anything about?
But we'd like to have something
Yeah, like
painted
we
there.
would have strong preference.
Consideration should be given to
Yes.
Yeah,
building something.
I mean,
Do you feel like
and
that's
it-
necessary?
I guess that yes and no, but the fact that it's on a property line, it's what's keeping you from being involved with the neighbor and whatever they may do. We can't predict
Right.
future, but it's of the four elevations, it's the one you want to kind of maintain that barrier. If you did a new project, you tend to want to do that, on the line like that. So I don't know. I almost think if whatever we get painted and whatever is just a bit bonus, but that adding windows to articulating that is probably not really good for that particular elevation. Making sense? I was kind of
No, I understand.
kind of rode the fence on that one, but
I think y'all
what
are
the heck.
probably going to do that anyway, so I didn't think it. I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask to see what
A couple ice cream cones and big out there. Yeah, I think again, I a couple other stores in town. They've had and the one out north of town, whatever. It's graphics is part of it. So I think that's good. I think it'd be hard to require. You got to do a mural. That's kind of.
I'm going to take a stab at this, if it's okay.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Unless you had any more
I have a
comments.
couple
Joanna.
more.
No, sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Never mind.
We have sidewalks along Monroe, kind of already planned, which was number 5. The number 6, the Monroe and Herkrider elevations having 2/3 windows. We really wanted to do Herkrider, as our primary elevation and play down all the glazing and the drive-through and all that stuff on the Monroe side. Still want to improve it and make it look better, but if the 2/3, which I believe we meet on Herkrider, so that's the bottom one on the right, and then the other one is the top left. Yes. So we're adding awnings and doing some other things to dress it up, but as far as window glazing, it's also a block building, so we're trying not to.
If we're looking, windows are one thing, but if you're looking at just articulation, there's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot of depth on that elevation.
Yeah, I know.
as well.
I get that too. There's a lot of depth. It's not one long facade, but there's new storefront pieces you've got. There's a door. There's the awnings, but the I guess is that a garage door? That's
Yes.
Okay.
The dream is to be able to open it up. And
Okay, so I mean, and then when that's open, that'll be more, I don't know, I think that elevation is in that range, but I'm not gonna argue with.
Is it less
people.
than 2/3 currently?
the north elevation is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The west elevation is very close.
In the math game, if we were over 2/3 on Parkrider and slightly under 2/3 on Monroe,
True.
just saying, averages it all out. Not that I can vote on this one, but
And with the right side being more business versus retail or the ice cream shop and wanting to see people activated and all that other kind of good stuff, we're hoping that roadside is more kind of not necessarily seeing in and what's happening, but we
The
want
functional drive-through and
yes.
just the utilitarian kind of side of it, but public over there.
Anything else, Joanna?
Well,
Sorry.
You're fine. I was just-
Whoa.
We've got the new fencing, the drive-through and stacking. I didn't realize I was trying to be smart, and it backfired. So I've got 2 drive-through windows shown right now, thinking you could order in one and then pick up, try to make it go faster. But in reality, I think I'm over the requirement if you do 3 per window. So we would take the first window out so that we could have the 3 stacking there.
It ended up being kind of like Andy's, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll just point out that that'll be reviewed by the city engineer during site development review.
Right.
That was another thing. On the site development review, we're not adding any parking. We're actually taking away square footage. We're not adding a patio at this time. Whenever we do the patio and with Parkrider, we will submit for the planning review. But because we're not adding any square footage or any parking spaces right now, we were hoping not to have to go through planning at this time.
Okay.
No. There's a change of use.
There you go. Yeah. Sorry.
what was it?
Change of
Change
use.
of use.
I've been hit with that before.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I was just curious if we could work that out with planning, kind of aside from the historic part of it.
Well, I mean, you're going to have, with parking and all, you're going to have to meet the development review requirements, right? So that's, you will work it out with them.
Yeah.
It's not, so that's not us to deal with. And we always have the ones that are beyond us on here, but it's just a note, we talk about it and go on. But yeah, there's those things you would deal with whether we were here or not. So, and they're going to bust you on change of use. So,
Gotcha.
but you have any other comments, or was that
I think that's it.
okay? Well, with the comment on the recommendation about the I guess the amount of openings or windows on that north side, is that what's staff opinion? Basically, we're kind of all of a mind. I think that we've got a lot of articulation on that side, not looking at percentage, but looking at what's going on over there.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll have Ryan come up and he can explain.
So the guidelines stipulate that any street-facing frontage should be 2/3 windows. Now, if you guys want to vote otherwise, that's
Yeah.
up to you.
Yeah, and it's always the downside of having a corner lot.
Right.
Like just a normal residential thing. You can see it from the street so it's kind of you're kind of caught,
Right.
but still. But I mean I agree with that. I mean I get that as part of it. But if we're just talking about it, the primary is Harkrider, and then we got Monroe next. So I mean I'm like he's saying, he even said if we want to change it, go a little different, that's fine. But and Liz's point a while ago, if it is possible to get more than 2/3 on one side, and can we, it's a numbers thing
But
sometimes too.
it's the overlay district.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not too concerned if it was Robinson or somewhere.
I know.
mean,
I agree. I mean, I think we have a little more latitude,
Exactly.
and especially
And
with these adaptive reuse
It's
things.
not going to look bad.
Yeah, no. It's gonna be accurate.
Honestly, don't even really know where you didn't put a window there.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't know where else it's
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're okay with what they've done, what they've shown, and what I'm speaking for
Pleased
everybody,
with
but
it,
that's kind
yes.
of what it sounds like.
I'm gonna motion to approve with recommendations, but to strike recommendation 4. But I do hope that you all consider
Oh, okay.
public art. And then on recommendation 6, to remove Monroe Street from the 2/3 windows, but continue that for Harkrider.
Everybody,
Second.
is everybody good? Okay, we have motion and a second for what Shelby just said. I know, we have
Yeah,
we have
Liz.
an abstainer over here.
Hold on.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify, talking about murals, there's a difference between public art and signage. So painting a big ice cream cone is considered signage. So when they do paint a mural, if that's what they decide to do, it needs to be public art and not
Sure.
pertaining to the business itself.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so no ice cream cones. Okay.
Very good
A big-
clarification.
Yeah, well, no, it is. I appreciate that. That's so a big butterfly
Does that come
holding
from?
an ice cream cone. Holding an ice cream cone.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Family eating an ice
Something that
cream cone?
inspires
Yes.
ice cream.
What if it's a giant banana
Okay.
on roller skates?
All right, so we have a motion for approval with the revisions as Shelby read them in a second. Any other
Jenny.
discussion? And thanks for the clarification. That does help.
I have one quick question. On the mural thing, like when Jessica Jones does that, does she have to come through the city for approval on everything? Do you guys approve the artwork on all that to prevent that from happening?
Or if it is a,
What?
something that
Well,
sells.
do just another side to that, do murals, proposed mural, do they have to go through the board?
They don't. Not the
Okay.
public art board, no.
Okay.
Only
Okay.
if it's on public property or.
Gotcha, okay.
Just for the record, you serve on the arts board, correct?
Oh, I was like, I didn't know this.
She's just, yeah.
So if
okay.
one were to paint an ice cream cone, the city would make them.
It would have
Take
to
it
follow
down.
the signage
Gotcha.
rules. Yeah.
They'd stop them
Interesting.
midway through the cone and have to get us, yeah. Gotcha. All right, so back to our thing. With one abstaining, we have a motion and a second for approval with the revisions as read. Any other questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good deal, passes. With the obvious thing, number 11 is you got any revisions are sent back to these guys.
Yes.
She's talking. Okay, what we have, probably be the hardest thing we got to do.
Yes, and Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I have been informed that we are not leaving here until we have a secretary.
that's why I said it's gonna be the hardest part of the whole
Don't worry, I
time.
took notes tonight.
Well, what
You did?
we did last year for the two that weren't here, it was avoided until now.
To elect one of you
Because
two.
the couple, one that was taking notes last time, she's no longer here, so she can't be secretary. But and I'm safe as chair, and you're safe as vice chair, so we can just watch the fight.
For
But,
context, I've served as secretary for the past 2 years.
Right,
2.5
And
years.
I've done such a
Shelby has done a
wonderful job.
wonderful job, and I'm not, and we're not necessarily looking at the new blood on the commission, but we have a secretary spot to fill, and we have to have it. So, with that said, I'm going to just let y'all talk about it.
I have done it before,
Yeah.
but I will warn you, I talk too much to take good notes.
You do talk a
know,
lot.
I'll give you a
I'm just-
template, Maureen. I have a template for you.
Shelby's got it set up.
She's got a template that
I
just
don't
like
write everything down.
Okay.
she makes
I mean,
stuff
I
up
talk
later.
a lot.
Yeah,
Beth,
I
do we
didn't
have a
talk a lot
recording?
today.
yeah. No, you're fine.
You can always go
Mr.
back and be
Chair,
reviewed.
we also have a recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
YouTube.
that's right. That's right. We have it
Yes,
recorded.
that's
Okay.
very
And
helpful.
so that's helpful, but it's like city council and everybody else does the written and the thing, and it's part of what we got to do. So
I nominate Mary Ann Black as secretary.
I'll second.
I second.
okay, before she runs out of the room, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
okay with it. I would like to put a caveat in there. If my life gets too crazy, that, I may need to not resign from this commission, but resign from that responsibility or hand it
Yeah.
off
Well,
to Jenny.
I think let's let hand it off to Jenny. Yeah,
We can,
Let's-
yeah.
Is that an
let's let
addendum
it-
to the motion?
Let's go. A month. You'll see how it goes. I think it's not.
Well, when I've been out, I mean, we
Yeah.
just notified one another.
Yeah.
So it'd be the same thing that if
Okay.
you just feel like.
I'll do it when
you
you.
could-
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
Mm.
okay.
We have a
So we have
backup.
a motion, a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good deal. Everybody's gonna say aye to
We're
that.
done.
Okay, the only other thing, and
Are
this
you doing
is.
tonight's?
Yes, I got
Okay.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
All
no,
right.
you're supposed to
And
be
then
writing it
you'll
down.
send me the template.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll share it out with everybody.
December? Yes.
Oh, okay. They don't have the December minutes
I was
because
not
the one
here,
who took the
so-
minutes is in Cersei now, I think.
I was
She-
not here for that
Marie,
meeting.
yeah, Marie,
I wasn't here either, so I'm.
we think Marie took them. Can y'all want to reach out to her?
I know she did because she said she did.
You, so, so somebody needs to watch the recording and write them down. Okay, I got you. That would be like, I don't know, secretary.
Yeah, and I'll just point out that the staff does a tremendous job with the Planning Commission and the HDC and dealing with quite a bit of other things throughout the week. We are shorthanded right now with the long range
Well,
planner.
and let me say, they
being
do
gone,
a good job.
Yes,
I always
but,
say that.
But we are maxed on
Okay.
the time.
Well, I wasn't here. so
I know.
don't know if
I
that
think
would
it's
be
a
appropriate.
transcriptionist kind of thing to do, I guess. I don't know. You're getting a hold of Marie. Only other thing I want to do, and it's
might have
it's
written it. She
the
might
the
have.
normal in our sorry, in the past, applications are due by a certain date for commissioners for all the commissions, and each commission interviews the people and passes on names to the mayor's office. And that this year they modified it some, and that, that's just what it is. So we didn't get to talk to anybody, and I'm not begrudging that. It's just that 2 new members and you get thrown in, right away. And I guess I just real informal, no pressure, and I'm, but basic things. I'm not going to detail that we'd ask in that interview, but essentially where you come from, why you're here, and just and what, just that kind of stuff. Just some. And again, you've already talked out both of y'all, so y'all know you're not shy, so that's not a big deal. But I first I'll say Mary Ann has been here before, served a couple of terms years
Yeah,
ago,
I,
and
yeah.
and so she's back again.
I was
for
here
s-
before the ordinance was written.
She's an
okay.
OG,
And-
is
and
what I
help
would
Yeah,
say.
she's OG.
helped to
I'm
write
OG
it.
too.
So,
So
yeah.
just if you want, just if
So,
you want to say 3 words or 30, it doesn't matter.
I've been through the various iterations of what this commission looked like in the beginning and working with city council and planning to develop the guidelines. Worked with Brian Patrick as all of these various things. The planning book was written, was part of all of that. I've lived in Old Conway for, since 2000, I guess. Anyway, took a hiatus for 3 years, and of course, there's been a lot of changes
Everywhere.
in the planning department during that time as well. But I'm back in Central Arkansas, working in Central Arkansas. Never left my house in Old Conway, and anyway, I'm thrilled to be back with this group. I think
glad
it's
to have
so important.
I just realized I
that
took your place when you're. I forgot I took your place when the time was up. Aw,
That's right.
memories.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, again, we're glad you're back. And
I'm
thank you.
glad to be
I'm
back.
thrilled that you're back.
Yeah, glad to be
Well, I'm Jenny Davis, and I'm not an OG Conwayian, but I do own a home in the historic district. And one of the things that impressed me about Conway when we interviewed for the job was that it had a thriving downtown. And I would like to continue to encourage. I mean, West Conway's wonderful, but that's not what people think of when they think of Conway. They think of the older part of Conway. They think of downtown Conway. And I just want to be a part of it, continuing to grow and thrive. And so that, Conway can retain its distinctive identity while the town grows.
Well, again, we appreciate it. One thing that this commission is different than planning commission and others, because planning commission is dealing with future and trying to guide that. All we're doing is trying to keep our past. That
Well,
basically.
I should also add that I'm from Port Gibson, Mississippi. It's a town founded in 1720.
Mhm.
And so every single house, Grant did not burn it. So I grew up in an entire city that was a historic
Yeah.
district.
Yeah, and that's,
That was
it's, but we,
fact of our lives.
we've been lucky to have what we've had when we started this. So it's I mean, I started, helped write the ordinance when it was in the beginnings, when we started this whole thing. And I was staff and I went to the quarterly meetings for CLG stuff. I did all of it, and glad I did, but it wore me out. But anyway, but it's I think it's a worthy cause. I'm glad you're here with us. So
And we appreciate our staff.
yes, we do. Well, we do. We do appreciate our staff. We're going to have one staff. We'll have more of our own staff at our home pretty soon too. When are you due? Really? Okay.
No.
Wow. Okay. So with that, I think I'm done. We got secretary. We've got the niceties out of the way as far as we've met everybody. So
I do have a quick question about the tree removal. Did that come?
oh,
I mean, I'm just out of curiosity. Do they have to come through the city for that?
no, it's a when somebody does a project and they take a tree out, we have them put one back in.
Yeah.
So we have kind of a loose tree, not requirement that you have to have approval, but it's just, did they contact the office about that? Okay.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I think it's more of a on your honor, because I mean, the tree was dropping limbs, was about
Yeah.
to-
No.
It was a
I want. Yeah.
And I did
Oh, yeah.
visit, Mr. Chair, I did visit that site, and
Yeah.
they did chip it all the way down. It's like it was never there.
Yeah.
They've mulched over the
Cool. Yeah,
location,
cool.
so.
Yeah.
it was a
Also,
danger.
Mr. Chair, I think there's one other thing we forgot to do. I make a motion that we table reading approval of the minutes from the December 28th
Ah,
until next
yes.
meeting.
Oh, okay, you're right. We
I'll
just skip
second.
right past it. Thank you. Okay, motion second for
Shelby.
remembering what I
Write that down, 'cause I'll
forgot.
forget.
But yeah, that's fine. Okay, have motion second. All those in favor of that?
Hi.
All right, thank you. Shane, I forgot all about
I
that.
do want to point out, she mentioned those properties across the street, and because I'm old and I remember, and I lived there briefly, that was zoned commercial and office property long before the ordinances for the
Well, it
CLG
doesn't,
were
use
ever
doesn't matter.
placed.
Use doesn't matter.
No,
Yeah, I
but
know,
but-
but
I
it
know.
was long before.
and I didn't want to art because it doesn't matter. But that blue one over there on the left hand side on Caldwell has original windows in it.
That would tell you
We
the
motion to dismiss.
let's make a motion.
I motion to dismiss.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good deal. We're done. Turn the